at any time.
I will.
All right, cool. So let's get rolling. We're going to do a quick intro and then we'll get right into the class. So starting off, my name is Reggie Green. I'm co-owner of Green Home Loans. We are a mortgage brokerage here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I own Green Home Loans with my cousin, Nick Grobnager. We're a couple of Michigan boys that happen to be out here in Arizona, licensed in 13 states. And our goal is really to provide an excellent product and service for our clients and referral partners, and a great platform for the loan officers that choose to partner with us. I have my sidekick, Kaylee Taylor, on here. Kaylee, what the heck do you do at Green Home Loans?
Hey guys. So I help
Outside of
all of our
complain. Kidding.
huh? Yeah,
Okay.
I do complain a lot. Outside of I help all of our business or our realtor partners and agents in their business. So my goal is to meet with you, understand your origination strategies, and see what we can do to help you bring in more business. That can be done in a variety of different ways, depending on how you originate. We have a bunch of tools that we offer, business planning and strategies. So if you ever want to sit down and go over your business and how we might be able to help you, just reach out to me and I'm happy to do so. And
Awesome.
we have our amazing partner Bree Kruger on here. Bree is with Great American Title. Bree, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. Bree Kruger, Great American Title. I am here to also support you guys in your lead gen strategies, your tools, technologies, and all of your marketing. We have an in-house print shop, which is super convenient for you guys as agents. And I have my own personal graphic designer. So anything that you might want to conjure up, we can definitely get going for you. And she's really, really good. So let me know if you ever need anything. We also donate a portion of every escrow that we receive through a transaction to charity of your client's choice or your choice. So we like to really give back to our community and support you guys. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, Reggie. Thanks, Kaylee. You guys are awesome partners as well. And you guys provide so much value to the agents. So thank you.
Absolutely. Bree's amazing. Thanks so much for joining us on this class. And, if you need a title company and a rep that's going to really work hard to help you get more business, Bree's definitely your girl. She helps us with a ton of stuff with our business. So we appreciate your partnership and friendship, Bree. So, cool. Well, let's get rolling. So one of the things I wanted to start with is I like bringing in context to a class. So the reason I'm teaching this database class today is because of my experience and how I got into databasing and how I got so passionate about it. So I always like to tell you a little bit about my story so you understand why I'm teaching this class today. So if it's cool with you, I'm going to take you on a little time machine back to 2004. And 2004 is when I got into the mortgage business. And at that time, I was a 24-year-old kid. I had just graduated college, and I was working at a place called Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Anybody in here work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car by any chance? They have a good management training program, I'll tell you that. But I was there for a year, and basically what happened with me is I was like, this is not what I want to do with the rest of my life. So I went on this thing called the World Wide Web, and I went on this website called Monster, and I started applying for new jobs. Anybody ever get a job on Monster back in the day? For us old folks, there we go. Great, cool. So I started applying for jobs. Anyways, long story short, I got a job in the mortgage industry somewhat randomly. Started my first job, super excited, and I got fired my first week. So that didn't really work out. So I go to my second mortgage job. I get hired again. And the funny thing is I started working at this company called AmeriQuest Mortgage. Anybody remember AmeriQuest Mortgage back in the day? Yep, you did too. We've got some old timers in here. I like it. So funny story, but my office at AmeriQuest is directly upstairs in 2004 from where our office is at Green Home Loans today. So it's kind of cool. It's a pretty full circle moment for me personally. So anyways, I start working at AmeriQuest Mortgage, and I'm a 24-year-old kid at the time, and I'm not super money motivated. My main things in life were girls, friends, and beer. That's really all I cared about. And all I wanted to do with the rest of the money I made is just be able to get by. So I'm working at AmeriQuest for about 3 months, and I happened to conjure up a really good month, and I made $10,000. Now, $10,000 might not be like a lot to some people, but at 24 years old, I had never seen this amount of money in my life. And I looked at it in my bank account and I thought, it was like a lightning bolt hit my brain. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And I was like, I can buy all kinds of stuff. I can do stuff I want to do. I can go on trips. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I started getting very motivated and entrepreneurial because I just liked having money. So long story short, 2004, 2005, 2006, I became a really successful loan officer. I built a mortgage branch and was doing really well, making more money than I've ever made in my life at 24, 25, 26 years old. And as life tends to do to you, you get humbled, and it was no different for me. So 2007 comes along. I think I'm the man, and the market just goes like that. And it was almost like, if you were there at the time, it was almost like the faucet was on, and then the next morning you woke up and it was off. And it hit me really hard. So what happened with me is, I always like to give this example. In 2006, if you took my income in 2006 and divided it by 10, that's what my income was for the year in 2008. So what happened is, like a lot of people, especially young, dumb people, what I did is, when I started making a lot of money, I started buying a lot of stuff. So I bought a really nice house. I bought a really nice car. I bought a nice wakeboard boat. So at the time, my expenses were here and my income was way up here, so it wasn't a big deal. But in 2008, my expenses were here and my income was here. And I don't know if you have ever been in that situation, but I'll tell you, I don't wish it on my worst enemy. You can barely sleep. You're waking up in cold sweats. You can't eat. It is a very difficult time. So I'm sitting there in 2008 and I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? My income is substantially, it's not even close to my monthly expenses. So I got to figure this out. So at that time, I hadn't worked with realtors, purchases. All I did was refinance mortgages. So I was like, I got to use what I have. So all I had was a list of closed clients that I had, and I had a list of leads that I had that never converted. And I decided, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start going through these and calling through these religiously. So started one day, started calling through all my past clients, started calling through all our old leads religiously. And it didn't happen immediately, but I started creating some opportunities and closing some deals from it. So my business started to kind of get this momentum going as I was working as a mortgage broker at that time. So my business is starting to gain momentum, and I'm working at this mortgage brokerage. And what the mortgage brokerage that I worked at did is, they would hand out internet leads. They'd print them out on a piece of paper and they'd randomly give them to mortgage brokers in the office. And if you've ever run a leads team in real estate or mortgage, it's very similar today as it was that back then. All the mortgage brokers would complain, the leads are terrible. Nobody ever wants to do anything. It was the same way back in 2008, 2009. So there was all these pieces of paper scattered around the office with internet leads on them. And then there was also this huge box full of them. So this box was, I don't know if you can see, but this box was huge. So I decided, okay, we have all these people that went online to ask for a mortgage. Nobody's doing anything with them. The mortgage brokers that got them call them once. So what I did is, I took all those leads. I took home this huge box full of leads. There was over 1,000 single sheets of paper, one lead on each paper. And it took me like 2 weeks. And I basically took this whole box and I started taking out each paper one by one and putting it on an Excel spreadsheet, their name, their phone number, their email, and that's it. So I get done with this Excel spreadsheet, and my whole master plan was, I'm going to start marketing to these clients. So I'm going to market them a weekly email. Now, on this weekly email, I'm going to tell them what's going on with rates. And I'm going to tell them, if they want a mortgage quote, answer these 6 questions and we'll be able to put together numbers for you. So I'm emailing over 1,000 people a week. And not at the beginning, nothing was happening. But after I did it, like, I never missed. So I did it every single week. And by about the 2nd or 3rd month, I started getting like 4 or 5 quotes a week. And I started converting maybe 1 or 2 of those. So all of a sudden, my business is really starting to move. In 2019, I ended up closing 20 million as a single loan officer. From 2010 to 2016, I closed 300 million, about 50 million a year. 2017, I built a large purchase mortgage team. And then eventually in 2023, we built Green Home Loans. So the reason I tell you this story is not to brag about any success I've had, because I've been super blessed. But the reason I tell you this is if someone was going to ask me any success that I've ever had in the mortgage industry, if I had to pin it down to one thing, it was that moment in 2008 and 2009 when I literally had no options and I started databasing. And that really helped me get through a very tough time in my life. And it helped me excel and really do some great things in my mortgage career. So long story short, that's why I'm here teaching in this class. And that's why I'm so passionate about databasing. So I know you probably didn't come to this class to hear all my whole story. So let's get to the nuts and bolts of the class now. Okay, so when we're dealing with business, I feel like in sales, a lot of people get this super complicated when sales is very easy to me. There's two things. You have lead origination and you have databasing. Now, what lead origination to me is you have to, if you're in sales, you have to figure out a system to getting in front of a certain amount of whatever you consider your lead is, whether if you're a real estate agent, that could be someone that wants to buy or sell. If you're a wholesaler, that could be a distressed homeowner. If you're a mortgage professional, that could be a realtor, a client, a builder. Whatever your lead is in your business, you have to create a system to get in front of a certain amount of those leads every single month. So lead origination is key to any sales business, in my opinion. Now, if you're in lead origination, and I wouldn't mind someone shouting out here if you don't mind and you're not too shy. If you talk to 10 people, let's just say you're a real estate agent and you talk to 10 people today about real estate. How many people want to go shopping for a house this weekend or put their house on the market next week out of 10 people? Anybody shout out? Everybody shy? So here's what I find. Two is actually pretty good. I can't see everybody because there's a lot of people on here, but what I find is if I talk to 10 people about mortgage, maybe like a half of 10 really wants to do something right now. Now they might want to do something in a month, 2 months, 6 months, but very few people in my business want to do something right this second. So what databasing to me is and how it relates to lead origination is getting people into your funnel. Databasing is staying in front of those tons of people, usually the vast majority of people that eventually want to buy. They want to buy real estate. They want to sell their home. They might want to do a mortgage, but you have to stay in front of them with value. So when they're actually ready for your product and service, you're the person that gets their call. So to me, sales is super simple. Lead origination, databasing. And one of the things I think is really key to this is you have to identify your audience. Whatever the lead is in your business, you have to identify who that is so you can create a plan of getting in front of them. And then the second part, which I already said, is you have to create a plan. Now, Kaylee can chime in here if she wants, but one of the things is me and Kaylee have talked to probably close to 1,000 loan officers and realtors about their origination strategies. And the people that are not having the success that they want to have usually have a couple things in common. And one major thing in common is they don't have a plan for their business. They don't have a lead origination plan. They don't have a database plan. So to me, if you go talk to the top person in your market in whatever industry you're in, anybody that you talk to that's very successful, I 100% guarantee they have a lead origination plan and a database plan. So if your plan's very random, it's very hard to get really good results when you have random effort and random plan. So that to me is what business is all about: sales, lead origination, databasing. Now, in our business, I kind of wanted to show you an example of how this looks like in our business. So we have 4 audiences that we're really trying to stay in front of in our business. First one's past clients. Pretty self-explanatory. They've closed a deal with us. So what we want to do is we want to stay in front of them. So not only when they do their next deal, they're going to call us, but also when their friends and family talk about real estate or mortgage at the dinner table, hey, you need to call Green Home Loans. They're excellent. And you're usually not going to get that referral rate there unless you stay in front of them consistently. So past clients. The next one is referral partners for our business. Referral partners are people that can send you business. That could be a business, that could be a realtor, that could be a lender, that could be a builder, financial advisor. whoever could send you business in your particular line of work would be a referral partner that I would probably create a plan of staying in front of. Leads to me are people that you've either talked to about your service or product, or someone that's raised their hand. Maybe you buy some internet leads and they're not ready at this exact time. So what we want to do is we want to create a plan of staying in front of those leads. So when they are ready, we get an opportunity. And then lastly, for our business, it's recruits. We always want to attract great people to our company to not only help our culture, but also help our production. So in our business, these are the 4 leads or audience members that we're going to try to stay in front of. So if you're a real estate agent on here, you know, one thing I would look at is sphere. You're always going to try to stay in front of your sphere, past clients, and probably leads. And then you can build it to referral partners and different things from there. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to this just because I think it's so important. So, you know, with lead origination databasing, if you follow my theory, it's really the 2 most important parts in your business. So if databasing becomes is one of the most important parts of you being successful, it's really important that you have a plan. And a plan gives you a roadmap on what to do every day, every week, and every month. You know, people that have a plan, usually your top producers, like they don't ever go into a week or go into a day where they don't know what they're going to do, because their plan built all these activities that they have to do for them. So if you're a professional and you're really going into your day, week without an actual purpose, get that plan dialed in, because it's really going to put together a purpose for you quickly. And then one of the biggest things I think also with people that are not as successful as they want to be is maybe they create a plan, but they're not consistent in executing it. So for example, once we create a plan for our business, it's a non-negotiable. So if you're ever an agent and you're doing like a certain plan for your business, or you're a loan officer, like let's say you're sick or something happens, like you have to still consistently execute your plan no matter what. That's what makes you successful. So I'll give you an example in our business. Does anybody in here get a weekly email from us about interest rates and housing? If you don't, you should. Okay, cool. Thank you. So here's the deal. That was a non-negotiable we created in our business. Now, I will tell you, I could be in Africa on a safari with no internet, no phone for 2 months. And I will tell you, that email will find a way of going out, because that's a non-negotiable I created in our business. We cannot miss that. It doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter if I'm sick. It doesn't matter if I'm out of town. That's our plan, and it's consistently executed. Now, one of the things I would think about if you're a sales professional is, if you consistently execute a plan, how does that look to your leads? Now, you might get my weekly email and say, I don't like this guy. I don't like the content. I don't like his style. That's cool. But one thing you can never tell me is I'm not consistent, because I'm going to stay in front of you all the time. And when you're consistent, what you portray to your leads is you portray that you work in a systematic fashion and that they can count on you for transactions. If I'm going to email you every single week and never miss it, it could be Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever it is, I'm never going to miss that. How am I going to treat your clients? How am I going to handle the transaction? I've already shown you that I'm super consistent. That's just going to show you that I'm a high value professional, whether you want to use me or not. So one of the cool things about being consistent with your databasing measures is it also shows you as a high value professional to your leads. Okay, so consistency is super important as well. So real quick before we go into examples of databasing, is databasing to me is almost like a mini sale. And I'm going to give you kind of an example if you're maybe a real estate agent. So when I database someone, what I'm trying to do is get all their information and put them into systems so I can stay in front of them. So let's just say my goal as a real estate agent is to talk to 10 people every single week about real estate. So let's say I talk to those 10 people, 9.5 of them don't want to do anything right now, and I put them in a database. Okay, let's kind of multiply this out. Okay, we have 10 a week, approximately 40 per month. 40 times 12 is 480 people in a year. So what I look at databasing is if I get their information, even if they're not ready right now, and I stay in front of them like I know I'm going to, At the end of the year, I'm going to be marketing consistently to 480 people. And I'm going to tell you, if you market to that many people and you have good content, you're going to get opportunities and convert business. So when you're looking at databasing, whether you meet someone at the PTA meeting or you meet someone at an open house or you talk to someone about real estate, but they want to buy next year, put them in your database. It's like a mini sale, because if you stay in front of them, you're going to get opportunities down the road. All right, so before I get into what we're going to do is we're going to show you specifically how we stay in front of one of our audiences, which is a past client database. But before I go in there, any questions, comments, or you can always put something in the chat because this is meant to be interactive. Happy to go over anything you want before I move on. I'm going to take a little sip of coffee real quick. Okay, so past client.
I just want to add
go
one more thing is social media, adding past clients to social media as well. I know some people have opinions on that, but I think it's great to know a little bit more about their life and stay up to date on their life. And social media gives you that glance.
100%. Yeah, I would get in front of all your past clients on social media. It's one of the things we're going to talk about, but I would add them on every single service you use and regularly post about your personal life as well as your business. Because to me, they're intermingled. Like my mortgage business is part of my life. It's just who I am. So I'm not afraid to post that, and I'm not afraid to be annoying because it's just part of who I am. Cool. Thanks for that comment, Bree. So past client database plan. So my whole theory when I'm databasing is when you look at 2024, your customer there's a lot of noise in your customer. They're marketed to by a million different people, and there's just a lot of noise. So what I want to do is I want to stay in front of them all the time in a lot of different mediums. So when they actually need my product or service, I'm the first person they think of. And I think a lot of people, especially with their friends or past clients, think, oh, they're just going to remember me when it's time. And the reality is life happens. There's so much stuff going on in people's life. People are so busy. If you're not like hitting them over the head that you do what you do all the time, then it's really hard. You're going to miss out on opportunities. You know, we hear it all the time. Like the person down the road didn't call you to list their house, even though you're a neighbor two doors down the road. You know, your friend bought a house and didn't even call you for the mortgage. So I think it's really important that you do create these plans, even if you think you don't need to. Okay, so first thing I'm going to start off with, and this is a long lost art, and I think people are really afraid to do this, and I think it's a big detriment to your business if you're not actually having real phone conversations with people. So what I would suggest is, and what we do with our database is we have a systematic way we're going to stay in front of our past clients every period of time by phone. So we have a really large database of past clients, thousands of past clients, but depending on how you do it, what I would suggest is staying in front of your past clients with a phone call at least once a quarter or once every 6 months. So if you have a huge database, what you might want to look into is how can you bring that database into small increments so it's not so overwhelming if you're going to call through them. So one easy way to do that we've actually executed before is calling past clients on an alphabet basis. So for example, if there's 26 letters in the alphabet and I call 2 letters every single week, I'm going to call through all my past clients every single quarter. So the first week in January, I call the last names that end in A and B, second week C and D, third week E and F, and I'm going to get through them every quarter. And all I do when I'm calling our past clients is shoot the shit with them. Hey, how you doing? Just wanted to touch base. Everything good with the mortgage, the house good, everybody good in the family, the job? Cool. Well, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate your business. Any questions ever, give me a ring. Really appreciate you. A lot of people get scared to call people, and you're just building a relationship and saying hi. No different than you'd be calling a friend. So don't let like the fact that you think you're annoying people, like they don't get annoyed. And if they do get annoyed, they're just not going to answer, but they're still going to notice that you called them because you left them a voicemail. One thing I would do if you are going to use this, and I would definitely recommend phone calls as part of your system, is using a dialer. So one of the things we do for all of our loan officers, as well as our referral partners, is we have a Mojo dialer that they can tap into. because when you're physically dialing each person, it takes a lot of time to dial. You also are going to get call reluctance every time you're dialing the numbers if you're like most people. And then you have to leave your own voicemail every time. So a dialer takes away the dialing. You know, the name's going to pop up on the screen whether you like it or not. And then you can create a voicemail that is general in nature but sounds personal. And you can get through that list a lot quicker. So if you are going to utilize this, which I would recommend, I would definitely use a dialer system. Hey, Kaylee, I see a couple things in the chat. Is there anything, questions that I should be answering?
Nope, I got it.
Okay, cool. So number one, create a system of how you want to stay in front of your database with phone calls. Okay, the second thing that we implemented, I actually implemented this in our business in 2009, still do it today, is a monthly personalized newsletter. So one of the things that Kaylee and I notice a lot is we're on hundreds of newsletters from realtors, loan officers, and Kaylee, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what we see from the newsletters that we see. Oh, you're on mute. Oh, don't worry about it. So what we see on our newsletters is a lot of times people create or sign up for CRMs or different things, and they don't create their own newsletter. So as a loan officer, we're getting like 20 of the exact same newsletters from 20 different realtors or 20 different loan officers. So what I always recommend is if you want your database to read your stuff, spend a little bit of time and effort. Like, why am I going to read your stuff if I know you're just like sending me like vanilla stuff that you didn't even create? So number one thing, if you're going to write a newsletter, what I would recommend is actually writing the newsletter. Take a little bit of time to share your knowledge and what you want to share. How our monthly newsletter works with our past clients is we basically, what I do is I try to give a little bit about what's going on with interest rates and housing. And the majority of the newsletter is just me telling them what's going on with me. Almost like if I had lunch with a friend I hadn't seen in a while, and we're having lunch and I'm like, hey, you know, I went on a trip with my kids. My kids are going back to school this month. This is what's going on with our business. So that's really what our monthly newsletter looks like, is me telling people what's going on with me personally. And giving a lot of videos and photos so they can see that. So that's how I do our monthly newsletter. And to me, what it's about creating connections. So I told you I started my monthly newsletter in 2009. So if you have been on my monthly newsletter since 2009, you've seen me get married. You've seen me have 2 kids. You've seen me create a purchase team. You've seen me get divorced. You've seen me start our own company. Okay, so you're seeing me in real life and connecting with me to my story. And I think that's really powerful versus just going over stuff about mortgage, real estate, sales. So try to connect with your people. And I think when you connect with your people and you get calls to do business, you don't really have to sell them. They already trust and like you. So wanted to do a quick example of our newsletter just so you can see what this looks like in real life. Hopefully I don't mess this up. Kaylee, let me know if I do.
You're good.
All right, good, cool. Okay, so this is really our newsletter in June of this year. So what I do is, number one, I create, I have like a picture that I normally use at the top, and I just kind of spice it up with things that happen to relate to that month. So June to me is like vacation, sun, pool, stuff like that. So that's what I did in June of this year. Okay, I always start off our newsletter with a picture. So this is me and my son. We went on a father-son trip to Chicago. So this is us on, I forget what the river's called, but we're here in Chicago here. And at the top of my newsletter, this is actually me writing this newsletter. I tell them a little bit about what's going on with rates. And then I tell them a little bit about what's going on with our company. So in June, we were throwing a water drive. I also shared with them our team and how they're doing and our top loan officers that month. And then I go right into what's going on with my life. So, you know, before it got too hot in Phoenix, there's a lake by my house and we would skateboard and bike around it a lot. So here's me and my daughter going on a little skateboard bike ride. Here's me and my girlfriend at the same lake. I went to a baseball tournament that Kaylee was actually at, Prescott, and I got to hang out with one of my good friends, Joe Lynn, It's actually Jolene's birthday today, which is kind of funny. So this is us hanging out at a bar in Prescott, catching up. I also went to a Grateful Dead concert, Dead and Company at the Sphere. So this is a little video of me at the Sphere. I also happened to be in Vegas and saw Beatles Love at the Mirage. Went to a cool restaurant that I told our audience about. And then the rest is just pictures of me and my son in Chicago. So my son's a big baseball guy. So one of the things we're trying to do is go see all the baseball parks. So I explained that in my newsletter. And then I have pictures of us here at Wrigley Field and also us at the Chicago White Sox field. Okay, so that's our real newsletter. That's what we did this month. Before I switch the slides, let me know if you guys have any questions. So that's going to go out every single month to our past clients, and we do some version of that to our other audiences as well. Okay, so after the monthly newsletter, the next thing in our plan is something that Bree mentioned, is connect with all of your past clients on social media. So what I do, you can really do an easy system. You know, at the end of the month, look at your closings and you could literally go connect with them on social media. So whatever services you use, you know, I typically use Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through all our past clients. I'll see if I can become their friend on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then I regularly post about my business and my life. So hopefully they can connect with me and then engage with our past clients. So if you don't have a system to do that, it's super easy. Go through your closings at the end of every single month, everybody part of the transaction, and just follow them, become friends with them on social media, comment on their stuff, and then regularly post about your stuff. Okay, one thing I layer in on top of this that we can help you do is I actually run social media ads to all of our audiences as well. So what Facebook allows you to do, and it's connected to Instagram, is what I can do is I can upload a list of my past clients. And then what I can do is I can run an ad just to the past clients on that list. So what you need to do this is you need their first name, last name, email, and phone number. Typically gives you the most success. And what Facebook and Instagram are going to do is they're going to take that information and they're going to try to tie it to a Facebook and Instagram account. And then your ad is only going to go to those people on the list. Now, also in Facebook, you have an audience. So what I can do is at the end of every single month, I can take our new closings and I can put them in the audience. So I'm constantly adding to the audience and running ads to it. So this is actually a real ad that we send to our past clients. And the cool thing about this particular ad strategy is it's super cheap because you're running it to a list versus just the general public. We have thousands of past clients and I only spend $1 a day on this. And I'm happy to show you how to do it if you want to do it. So our past clients are going to constantly see us on Facebook and Instagram because we're targeting them. And all I try to do is just say thanks. Hey, thanks so much for doing business with me. I really appreciate it. If you ever have any questions, mortgage, real estate, investment, please give me a call. So a super simple strategy that you can stay in front of your past clients or whatever your databases are that we utilize all the time. And happy to show you how to do it. Other cool thing you could do is, this is super easy. You can watch a YouTube video or Google it, but you could create a Facebook group of your former clients. And we actually do this. It's called the Team Green Private Client Group. So if you're a past client of ours, what we do is we ask you to join a group and then we'll post like events or raffles or updates on what's going on with the rates, things like that. And the cool thing about this is you're almost creating a community that's larger than yourself. So people can interact with each other that are your past clients. And it's just a cool way to stay connected. Also, if you do a lot of events and things like that, it's a great way to get that information out to people that might want to attend those events or attend those classes. Okay, so birthday messages. So we have a couple different ways we do this. So anytime someone enters our database, we're going to try to find their birthday. Now, if you close a loan with us, we're going to have it as part of your loan application. If you're a referral partner or somebody else that we're adding to our database, we're typically going to look at you on Facebook and Instagram. I'm sorry, Facebook and LinkedIn. And both of those sources have places where people can enter their birthday if they want to. So if you're a friend of ours on Facebook or mine on Facebook, what I do is I actually have someone do this for me, but we do it every single day, is we go through the birthdays every single day and we send them a birthday song. So one of the things I try to do with the birthday messages is just make it memorable. if you want people to remember you, sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. So what I do is I have one with me playing guitar, electric guitar, showing the birthday, and I have two of me actually singing. And it's really funny. Like most people would be embarrassed to do that, but to me, like that's how you get remembered. Like if I do something that you can remember, then you're going to think of me. And now I have a spot in your memory where I could possibly create a relationship with you or get opportunities down the road. So if you are our Facebook friend, you're typically probably know what these are, and you're going to get them every single year at your birthday. And we have 3 of them. And then every year we start creating new ones. So it's a cool way to show your clients that you care about them and then step out of your comfort zone a little bit so they can remember you. Okay, the other thing we do in our business is we try to text our past clients every single quarter. Now, you want to be somewhat strategic with this because you don't want to just text them spam. So what we try to do is we try to text them, maybe it's a holiday coming up, wishing them a happy holidays, whatever that may be. Or sometimes things happen in the market where we want to let them know that they're happening in real time. So give you an example, sometimes rates drop, and when rates drop, typically they're at their bottom for about 2 or 3 days. So when we see that happen, usually they're going to be at their bottom for 2 or 3 days, and then you're going to get a correction back up. So when we see that happening, it's important for us to let our past clients know, hey, rates have dropped. If you want to look at your situation to see if we can do anything for you, reach out to us. So one of the ways we do that is mass text. Now, there's 2 ways to really mass text people. You can use your CRM, or we use a service a lot called Reach. There's benefits to both of them, but with a CRM, it's usually going to come from a phone number that's not yours. So if you text from a CRM, which I personally do, you want to make sure if someone calls that phone number that it gets forwarded to your cell phone or a number that you can actually answer. So even if they don't have your cell phone, they can get through to you through that phone number. So you may be on this class because I texted a bunch of people to come to this class, yesterday. So that's a mass text through our CRM. That's actually not my phone number. Another way, if you don't have as big of a database and you want it more personal from your phone number, is you could use a service called Reach. And what Reach allows you to do is Reach basically will allow you to upload your database into Reach, and then you can mass text them from your phone number. So the one thing with Reach is if you use it, your phone's like, your phone is going to be in service while it's sending out these texts. So you kind of have to put your phone down and do something else for a little while. But what you can do is you can program Reach to say their first name, give whatever description or whatever you want to talk to them about. And then Reach has a newer feature where you can also automate when they're going out. So when Reach first came out, you had to hit send on all of them, and it made it a lot slower. Now what you can do is there's like an add-on where you can basically tell them to text your list every 5 to 10 seconds and just let your phone go and it'll go through the list. So this is a really cool way that you could text your past clients coming from your phone number if that's important to you, that it comes from your phone number. So we use Reach, and we teach agents how to use Reach quite a bit. Lastly, sometimes we'll use Slide Broadcast maybe about every 6 months. Slide Broadcast is like a ringless voicemail. So if you've ever gotten a voicemail where your phone never rang, but you did get a voicemail, that's a Slide Broadcast or a slide dial. So we'll utilize that occasionally, maybe Happy New Year, or like I said, a major market movement where we got to get that information out to people quickly so they can act on it if it's beneficial to them. So we might use Slide Broadcast for something like that. I used to use Slide Broadcast a lot more than I do now, just because I don't feel like people listen to voicemails. Like I certainly don't. Like I'll listen to it for 3 seconds and then I either call the person or I decide I'm not interested. But we still do utilize this from time to time in our business about every 6 months. Okay, how our team has been set up, we have a lot of loan officers, and it's difficult to throw events because I'm not a single loan officer. So we don't necessarily throw periodic past client events, but I'll tell you, if I was a single person or a small team, this is definitely something we would do every 6 months. Whether it's a happy hour, a movie theater, anything like that. I think it's key way to stay in front of and build relationships with your past clients. I would definitely recommend doing this. And I also think, in your real estate mortgage, you get your partners involved. to help not only financially pay for it, but also so they can be in front of your past clients and things like that. It limits the expense to you. So I would definitely do something like this if you're not doing it, whether it be every 6 months or every 12 months. I think it really goes a long way to building not only better relationships, but also getting more business from your database. Okay, so this is what we do. So what is your plan? So I kind of told you this a little bit earlier, but when we're talking to real estate agents or loan officers, a lot of times the people that aren't as successful as they want to be, they do not have a specific plan, lead origination or databasing. And then a lot of times they do have a plan, but they're not stringent or consistent in executing it. So if you get anything from this class, any nugget, you really want to create a plan, and then you want to make it a non-negotiable in your business to execute that plan, and then constantly reevaluate the plan and possibly layer more stuff onto it. So that is my presentation. What questions do you have? Anything I can answer for you while we're here together? Kaylee, there's about like 9 chats in there. Is there any questions I need to answer from the chats?
Nope. It's
Okay.
just, we were talking about different services for sending out newsletters.
Yeah.
Okay,
I told
cool.
them we use MailChimp, which I'm really familiar with and I'm able to help people with. Bree uses Flowdesk, which I have been hearing a lot about lately. I might look into that just to see more about it.
It just
Yeah,
lets
and
you,
oh, go ahead.
it just lets you do a lot more stuff with it. It's more editable and it feels more personal and aesthetically pleasing, but that's just preference.
Yeah, I think you got to find what works for you. I will tell you, myself, Kaylee, or Bree, we can help you do a lot of this stuff that we're talking about on here. A lot of times when we're talking to agents or loan officers, it gets overwhelming. So what I would suggest is whenever you're starting like a business plan or a databasing origination strategy, what you want to do is you want to do 1 or 2 things, preferably one. Get that running. Like if you're going to do a newsletter, monthly newsletter, just get it running. Do the first one, second one, third one. Once you feel very confident and you're doing that, now you can layer on a second thing and then layer on a third thing and a fourth thing. But if you try to do everything at once, it gets overwhelming. And what we find is a lot of people don't do anything. So I will tell you, Kaylee, myself, Bree, we're happy to help you with this stuff. And it's stuff that we do every single day in our business. So we're not teaching you things that we did 30 years ago. These are things we're doing right now.
There are, oh, go ahead, George.
I was just going to say, do you have a particular database you're recommending? And then do you do a lot of drip campaigns? Because you said it's better to write your own, copy, basically. What do you do with that?
So on database, like I create my own database. So what I'm doing is I'm identifying the leads that I want to go after, and I figure out ways that I can either get their information or talk to them, and then I put them in my database.
Do you mean which system, George?
I'm thinking, like I'm with Better Homes and Garden. We have MoxieWorks, so they use a CRM called Engage, and looks like it's got some power, but it's kind of clumsy. You start playing with it, and then you're like, put it aside. So I'm just curious, I'm looking for something simple but powerful, but it's nice to have some drip campaigns. But then again, if you're doing a drip campaign, I swear whenever I do put someone on a drip, I have more people cancel on like a fall back or spring forward, because people in Arizona don't care about that. They're like, this is just canned stuff, and they click out of it. And so I'm just curious what you use as far as if you're doing any kind of drip campaigns in particular, or you're just more manual on it.
So I'll answer, and then Bree probably has some good answers as well, because she's coached a lot of real estate big teams that are super successful. So first thing, I used an Excel spreadsheet for a long time. Now, like what I always recommend is you have to do what works for your brain. And I loved Excel spreadsheets because I'm a detailed person. So what I would do is get the person in my spreadsheet, and I'm actually going to send you guys an example of this, but you can get someone in your spreadsheet, and then you can have check boxes. Are they on my email list? Have I connected with them on social media? Do I have their birthday? Are they on my text list? Are they on my social media ads, mailings, like things like that? So what you could do is you could create little tabs in Excel, past clients, leads, sphere of influence, and then just be religious about putting them in there and adding them to your systems. So you can definitely use Excel. I use Excel, I use like a lot of stuff. So I use Excel. I also use a CRM mainly for lead origination, which I'm going to go over your question on drips here in just a second. I use MailChimp for emails. So I use like 3 of them: Big Purple Dot, Excel, and MailChimp. I like drips when you have leads, like online leads. So if someone goes online and says they want to buy a house or they want information on it, the reality is a lot of times those leads are sold to multiple different people, and you have to have a way of staying in front of them. So what we do is we'll create text drips for those specific people, text and email drips. Hey, I saw that you were interested. When can you touch base? And we'll stay in front of them with 4 years for drips. But once you move past that stage where we're actually having conversations, I put them in different stuff that's not canned. I feel like you have to do the drips on lead origination, but I don't do it on, my past clients or anything like that.
And I agree with that. I've used many different CRMs and systems, and I do use a CRM called Lion Desk to help me organize my personal stuff. It's one of the ones I like for agents as well because it's cheap and for the most part pretty robust compared to a lot of them out there, and affordable for you guys as well. But what I do also do is I have a spreadsheet, and like Reggie, I also have my flow desk. I don't like canned emails unless it's like a Zillow lead or online lead as well. I think that it's more personalized. I used to put together a little form I would send to clients, the All About You form, and it would just have different things that they like to do. So, for example, maybe they're Seahawks fans, maybe they're anniversaries in January or whatever, that gather that information, their kids' birthdays, make things a little bit more personalized. And instead of those canned drips, like the happy birthday message is a perfect example of what Reggie does. Instead of that kind of cookie cutter type drip systems. If you do a monthly newsletter, though, that kind of takes off the pressure of, oh, I need to do drip campaigns. I need to be sending things out to different people all day long.
Yeah, and I think the monthly newsletter, a lot of people will look at their open rates and things like that. The fact is, a lot of people will see your subject in your email, even if they don't open it. The reality is not everybody's obsessed with you as you are. So like if I send a monthly newsletter about what's going on with me and my kids and family, some people just don't care, and that's cool, but you're still going to see me. And even if you decide not to open it, I still had a little piece in your brain for a few seconds there. And I think that matters. It's the same thing when you leave a voice message and they listen to it for 3 seconds. They saw that you put in effort to reach out to them, whether they're ready for that effort to talk to you right now. To me, isn't that big of a deal because they see that you're making an effort to build a relationship.
There's some other questions in the chat. I'll start with the first one that came in. Rates today.
Let me pull up Mortgage News Daily here real quick because I've been preparing for this class here. So average rate across the country today is 6.58%. So we can usually get lower than that, but that's the average rate across the country. So rates hit their lowest in August 5th. And like I said earlier, typically when rates go down, they're there for about 2 or 3 days, and then you start getting a market correction backwards. That's why it's really important to tell people when that happens so they can make a move on it. It's not so important with purchases because the reality is you're not going to buy a house just because the rates are good for 2 days, but for refinances and other opportunities, it is a big deal. But 6.58. If you ever want to look at this, you can go to mortgagenewsdaily.com, go down the page, and what they do is they do a basic survey of a ton of mortgage professionals, and it's just the average rate that they're offering their client. It's never going to be perfect because credit score affects the rates a ton, and then also whether they want to pay points or 0 points affects the rates a ton. So that's just the average rate that they're seeing being offered.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. If you were just starting your database, how do you go about building it? Any strategy you can share? I currently have 25 people in my database.
Bree probably has a separate one for me, so I'll let you answer, but I would do an Excel spreadsheet to design the audiences that I want. I'm actually going to send out like an example that you can steal if you want, but like, what are the audiences that you want to stay in front of? You know, it's always going to be Sphere. It's always going to be past clients, and then whatever else, leads or whatever it is. Create tabs of Excel spreadsheet, name, email, phone number, and how you want to stay in front of them. Social media, email, whatever you do, and then check it off. And then that way, I call it onboarding your database. So if I onboard you correctly, I know you're going to see me in a lot of different mediums. I just have to execute those. So I would just create a system that whenever you meet someone, like at the PTA meeting or the soccer practice, put them in there, stay in front of them, and you'll get opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's many different ways we can add. The best thing to do is go through your Facebook and go through your cell phone. Add those people onto your database. Your database isn't just people that you're going to sell homes for. It could be that their sister's moving here from London and they're looking to buy a home, but you have no idea yet. So being in front of those people that not necessarily are going to buy and sell from you, but can be a great referral source from you is huge. I can pull a lot of different farms for you guys with as many emails and phone numbers as you want. So I recommend starting in your neighborhood. You're that neighborhood expert. So we can pull a farm in your area. You could be sending out a newsletter specific to your area, or you can broaden it, or you can do different segments with, which is kind of a whole nother topic, but we can pull data for you. That's really easy. We can also pull like divorce leads or for sale by owner leads and all of that kind of stuff too. And then I would also build business relationships. I think that's one that agents tend to miss, but talk to your dentist, get their info, put them in there. Your dry cleaners, if you have a pool guy, if you go to Pilates every Thursday, all of those people should be in your database.
100% agree. I think it's even more important for real estate than mortgage, because in mortgages, sometimes you're close friends with people and they don't really want you to know everything about them, their credit scores, their finances, stuff like that. Real estate, you're not dissecting their financial life as much. So real estate, I would be crazy about that. You know, there's a lot of super professional people that I know that do well just because they're great networkers, you know, and they know a lot of people and they stay in front of them. KT, any other questions?
I think there's one more. I don't think this was answered yet. I currently use my brokerage's database. Do I need to create a separate one to maintain, or is that unnecessary?
I'll answer this. I personally would always have my stuff outside of my company, because the reality is real estate and mortgage is a transient business. And like, if you're going to spend all this work to put in your database, you don't want somebody else owning it. I'll give you an example that I see a lot. There's a lot of mortgage companies that are call center mortgage companies. Nothing wrong with these companies. They're great for a certain type of loan officer. But if you work at a call center, they own your whole database because they provide you leads. They own the past clients. They do things like that. And if you're in a company like that, you can't really build a true business because they own everything. So for me, I always want to build something that's based upon my business, regardless of what company I represent at the time. Because the reality is sometimes people change and you want that database. Now, you don't want to, I'll preface this, you don't want to steal their leads, but if it's your stuff like that you brought in, I would definitely create a system outside of whatever system you're working on, so you have access to that if you decide to leave. Bree, any other comments on that?
100% agree. I know it's a pain in the butt. I know a lot of companies offer their CRM for free, but over the last 15 years of teaching CRMs, like I've seen horror story after horror story on, unfortunately, they lose their whole database, or they don't have access to their database anymore, or their companies accidentally got a hold of their leads somehow, or their database, and started marketing to them. And there's just a million things that can go wrong. And this is the lifeblood of your business. So I would cherish this and protect it with everything you have and keep it completely separate.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like services like MailChimp and probably some of the ones that Bree use, they're actually free up to a certain amount of contacts. So MailChimp's free up to 500. So even if you stored them in a place like MailChimp or something that's a free account, you have them in a separate source that's an internet login that you can access and export at any time. So definitely would recommend, keeping that on your own, even if you're going to put them in their system, pull it out on your own as well.
Awesome. I think that
Cool.
was it. I think we answered everything and we're right on time. It's just about 11. So,
Perfect. Perfect.
so
One
great
last
job.
comment.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. One last comment. If you want us to help you do any of these things, feel free to reach out to Kaylee, Bree, or myself. Like we literally do this all the time. We're here to help you not only implement but execute these strategies. So just reach out to any of us. We're happy to help in any way we can and hopefully provide value to your business. And really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come join us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
right.
you, everyone. And I'll send out the recording and Reggie's spreadsheets that he talked about. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you all. Hope
Thanks,
everyone has a great
everybody.
rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.